minute
Dutch.
to spare.
Where's the
2
Dutch shit on the
minutes.
carpet? Big one.
With what?
I'm having a report for, he was by himself for 8 hours.
Oh, poor buddy.
But big one.
I didn't hear you say Fritz, and I'm like, good job, glad you did it. That's great.
Those flight delays can be tough, right?
Yeah, listen, they go for us all.
Honestly stunning that we were able to get here still.
Yeah.
And when Jay texted when you guys were leaving, I did not think you were gonna be.
Same.
I did not think at
I never
7:30
doubted
this
us.
morning that it was gonna be much of an issue, but turned into one, didn't it?
Alas, a pilot calls in sick, and then, well, makes sense.
How was Royal Sabres? Do you think?
I don't know, because I know he's going out of, he and Mary Lou are going out of town this weekend, or they just left early.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were trying to guess who would be here.
Yeah, I had a feeling he wasn't going to be.
Yeah.
Plenty of people will act like they're here, but actually showing up.
All smooth for you today, Lance?
Yeah, no delays.
Great.
The tough part was, I got less than 2 hours of sleep. My Uber picked me up at 3:30.
Oof.
And
Hobby or Bush?
Bobby.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a nice airport.
I know. Super low key for Houston.
The layover was in Baltimore, which is also a great airport.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
Look. Hey, bud, how you doing? Yeah, I'm home. I'm just out at Bill's. McDermott's press conference starts at, well, it's supposed to start any minute, so. Yeah, what time is that? At 7? Okay. This should be over by 5 or 5:30, so I should be home by like 6, so I'll pick you up when I get home. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, I'll call you when I'm leaving here, okay? I said I'll call you when I leave here. very defeated.
The adrenaline has worn off.
Yeah. it's on the referee, according to sources, because you gotta go, you don't wanna be on the record talking about a referee injury. Sources close to Hill tell the insiders.
It's
That rep
treacherous
agent.
work.
What's that?
Treacherous work.
Yeah.
You know, that referee injuries too.
God forbid you're on the record talking about a referee injury.
it, but the Sabres Beer Saver launches tonight.
Ooh, yeah, that's true.
One of those is ending up on the ice.
For
Maybe not
sure.
tonight, but at some point.
Everybody waiting? Right. All right, so let me get you the injury updates here, and then you guys can ask your questions and follow up after that. So Dalton, I'll just group these three guys into the same category here. Dalton, Kincaid, Fedarian Mathis, and Curtis Samuel. They're all improving, and we'll see where they go this week. We'll take it one day at a time. Excuse me. Terrell Bernard is week to week. Spencer Brown, we'll have to see, still gathering some information there. Max Harrison is in concussion protocol. Christian Benford and AJ were examined for different things, and they came back. They returned. They should be fine at this point. Josh is sore. Josh Allen is sore, but we expect him to be fine as well. And then Mecole Hardman is going to IR here. So that's what I have for you. Happy to answer any of your questions in follow-up way, but the time is yours.
Are you pondering the idea of injured reserve or Terrell or Spencer at this point?
Potentially. I just don't know anymore. It's still early. Doesn't look good for, I'll start, say, this week, but we'll see. Yeah.
Sean, when it came to Spencer in that game, obviously he gathered it out that he admitted he was having a tough time. So for you as a coach, how do you balance, the fact that he wants to be out there, he wants to perform, but obviously impacting what he can do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, functional is the key word that comes to mind. And, I rely on our medical staff to say, can he function at the level that he needs to function at? And that's usually the measuring stick for me as to, hey, can he go, can he not? Do we need to make a substitution there along those lines?
Did it just get to that point for that final drive that you just decided that Ryan was?
No, that was a medical piece that they said he was out. So, and then last night, you got to understand, there was probably about 5 or 6 guys through the course of the game that they were, evaluating, and then were out, or evaluating and then were brought back. And then I think Spencer was a little bit of both there, and then then ultimately wasn't able to go. Excuse me.
Sean, you've expressed confidence in Joe a couple times in the last 3 weeks here. Where is that sense of confidence coming from?
Yeah, very confident in Joe and our offensive staff. We've got a good offensive staff. They'll continue to put together a plan each week that allows us to win and play our best. I just believe in those guys. I really do. And they've had success in years past, and I just really believe in what they do and how they do things, and I feel like we're in a good spot.
How do you balance that?
That doesn't mean that we don't have to make adjustments, however, Jay. Obviously, we've got to continue to make adjustments week to week and then within the game. And that's what we'll be looking for as we continue to move forward here.
You mentioned in that belief years past. Is it more on experience that they've had from before, or where do you find that trust in the offensive staff?
Well, you look at the history and what they did. Let's just go back to last season, and even the season before that, where Joe was new on the job, the back half of the year, and what he was able to do, what our offensive staff, led by Joe, was able to do. And he didn't all of a sudden become a bad coach. Do adjustments need to be made? Clearly they do, and I count on those guys to make those appropriate adjustments as we move forward as a football team.
Sean, you guys are 2-3 this season on the road. If you go back a few years, you're under 500, 11-12 since the start of 2023. I get that it's tougher to win on the road, but staring at the possibility of being on the road in the postseason, given the way the standings are right now, what has got to change to improve that record away from home?
Let's start to just taking it one game at a time, Jay. That's what we've got to do. Projections of postseason and this and that. Right now, we got to focus on taking it one game at a time and 1 week at a time, and embracing the grind that comes with that. So it's there's no one crowning us of already made the playoffs, going on the road in the playoffs. We play a road game next week, and let's start there. And we've got to make adjustments to continue to get ourselves into a position to win games, and it's not going to be easy. We got to figure out a way to win one game at a time, and that's where we need to start.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. You're right in the sense that that's looking ahead, but your next game is on the road, right? And so the the results that you've gotten on the road to this point and what has to change with the 3 remaining regular season road games that you have. Is there anything that you can point to that hasn't been going as well operationally, performance-wise on the road as opposed to at home?
That's just our level of play. How do you get your level of play up in those situations? When you go on the road, you've got to be road warriors, and you've got to have that type of mindset. And that's really what we have to do is get ourselves ready to play our best football, in this case, next week, which is on the road, to your point.
After you reviewed the tape of specifically the offense last night, I mean, how much did it just boil down to up front? I know that some was off schedule and what you had to, but you were able to call in certain situations, but just the fact that their defensive line, just rushing the floor, was able to create as much pressure.
Yeah, I mean, listen, on one hand, they're a very talented defense. They've got rushers that can rush, especially their outside 2, and it makes their whole unit better. They've got, 2 corners that are a 1-2 tandem that are tough, and they play extremely fast. They've got speed, and they're disruptive because of all that. So they're not an easy outfit to go against. We didn't certainly help ourselves with poor field position, which was brought on by multiple different areas. That said, there are things that we can do better offensively as well, and the adjustments, as I was alluding to earlier. So we have to learn from that style of game. To some extent, a similar style to Miami in terms of what unfolded in the situations we were in, 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and then learn from those situations and adjust. That's what I'm looking for more than anything.
You were clear last night that Josh can't take the number of hits that he took in that game. They started early, though. I mean, he was hit very early in that game and was hurt and, and looked to be serious there for a second. And that continued. So when you talk about the in-game adjustments, how do you evaluate those today in terms of their success or maybe lack thereof?
Yeah, no, we need to be better there. We absolutely do. We need to be better there, and if we want to win or give ourselves a chance to win, we have to be better there.
Coach, looking at the defense yesterday, their adjustments from the first half to the second half, what was so effective about those second half adjustments?
Yeah, I thought the coaching staff did a phenomenal job. They had the 2 drives. I'll call the run drive. I referred to this with our players this afternoon as well, the run drive where we were not playing good run defense and the run fundamentals that go with it. And then the drive before half on the long pass, that was a pass drive and pass fundamentals. And then we made adjustments at halftime, led by Bobby and the defensive staff, and really calmed things down. Players adjusted, embraced the adjustments, and went out, and I think we gave up 60 yards total on defense in the second half, including some of the short fields and whatnot. So I couldn't have been more happy with the way that they played in the second half, and that's where we have to continue to go and just build this identity as a defense, and what we saw with that second half.
In the last 2 weeks in the second half, you guys have forced, I think, 5 3-and-outs and 2 takeaways.
Yep.
What awakens within the defense in the second half, and how can you kind of move that forward into starting in the first half?
Yeah, well, that's important. We've done a good job the last, don't quote me on this, 3, 4 or 5 games of getting off the field. We've been up first on defense first, and have gone 3 and out a number of those games, including last night's game. Second drive got us a little bit this past week, and as it did in Tampa, and it was the run game. So if you want to hit the quarterback, you have to be able to snuff the run out, and then you got to be able to do it in a split safety defense at times, so you don't have to commit always to an 8-man box and expose the matchups outside and good receivers. So that's how the game has to be played, and we have to do a better job of that run game and making sure we're controlling that line of scrimmage earlier in the game.
Hey, Sean, it seemed like pushing the ball down the field took a step forward. I think Josh said his season high in air yard per attempt. And then this past week it kind of cratered a little bit and went back down to the level that it had been previously. So can you put your finger on maybe why the downfield hasn't?
I mean, let's just talk about where we were situationally too. Going into the second long, 3rd and long. Usually those down the field passes occur on first down or a situation where you can get the ball beyond, past the defense a little bit there. And some of it in Tampa was also Josh extending plays. So all of that factored into what you saw at Tampa this past week. When you're going against a good defensive line, the time to get that done is at a premium, right? So Do you chip? Do you add more protection? So all those things factor into some of the adjustments. And you have to also change tempos, not necessarily no huddle tempo, but just you've got a defense that triggers and it plays fast and aggressive, and how we can use that against them is some of the areas we need to dive into moving forward here.
Matt Milano still played a lot last night, but there were times his usage was a little bit different, where you were in base and he wasn't one of your guys out there. Just what factored in?
Just trying to get all of our guys. Yeah, we've been banged up across the defense, but in particular with the linebackers, and trying to make sure, hey, we're using all the guys that we have, and also trying to keep Matt healthy, as he's been a little banged up. I thought last night was one of his better games, and he seems to be, and Tampa too, he built off of what he did at Tampa, took another step last night, and he's getting into a rhythm again, which is good to see, and that's always been good for our defense.
Sean, I know you said last night it's day-to-day for Keon, or one day at a time rather.
Yep.
Keon Coleman, just what does that look like over this next stretch with some extra days in there?
Yeah, well, I'm encouraged by what I've seen in the small window of time since the Tampa game, and we take it one day at a time. Like I said, it's really about making sure we're taking the proper steps every day that lead to winning. Right? That's, if you want to win, you got to have winning habits, and that's important. So we see winning habits, then he's in the conversation as we move forward every week, and then we go with what we feel like gives ourselves the best chance to win, and that's true of any player, not just Keon.
Sean, what is this extended time between games like for you? Are you more so doing the micro in getting ready for Pittsburgh, or is it a time to maybe reflect and
Yeah.
try and figure things out, big picture?
Sure, yeah. Good question, Joe. It's reflection. It's a mini buy, call it, so you get a little bit of a window, but a smaller window to reflect. But I think, like any time you can do it, reflection is important and powerful. So reflecting on, where we're at, reflecting on what we do well, reflecting on areas that where adjustments can be made, and then also just the overall situation that we're in, and how we need to, our approach of one game at a time. And I just fully believe in that, and a team's ability to embrace that is real, and block out all the other stuff that comes, around the team from time to time.
Sean, we've heard after Miami and then last night some variation from players of they wanted it more, they being the other team. On the surface, that seems like it should not be the case. So why do you think that has been an issue and maybe continues to be?
Yeah, I didn't sense that last night, Jay. I really didn't. I sensed it in Miami game. Maybe I missed a quote by one of our players. Go ahead.
Josh referred to it. I'm paraphrasing. It wasn't.
Why don't you just tell me what his exact words were, so I can respond to your question then.
Just have to give it, pull it up, but.
They wanted it today. We had a chance to win there at the end of the game, and we have to find a way.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean that they wanted it more. That's not what he said. So don't put words in his mouth like that. That's not fair to a player, any player for that matter. I will respond to your question though. Our players wanted it. You look at that room after the game, that locker room, they were exhausted, and they gave everything they had. Were there some plays like any team where you're going to have some, hey, we need to have better effort there? Yes, but on the whole, those guys, they spent everything they had on that field. So I would appreciate you respecting them in that way of they gave it everything they had.
The consistency from week to week, Kansas City to Miami to Tampa to Houston, has been quite up and down. What do you point to in that regard?
The consistency of a team overall. It's human nature to some extent. It's not easy, but the preparation has been very consistent week to week, I would tell you. So you're going to unfortunately have some performances where you perform really well and other ones where it drops a little bit. You don't want that. I don't want that. But for us is finding consistency in the performance week to week, regardless of the opponent. And I thought last night there were some really good moments in the game. Then there were some moments, obviously, that weren't good enough. And so that's the goal, is to get them to have every moment to be as consistent and as high as possible.
Coach, you speak to the good moments in last night's game. That stretch of the game where guys were coming on and off the field being evaluated from injuries, how was your depth ready for those opportunities?
Yeah, we don't have an option. I Maddie. That's what it comes down to, is our guys have responded next man up, and they continue to do that. I mean, you look at the number of players that have been, evaluated, taken off the field last night, most recently, and the next man steps up. Shaq came in last night for TB when he went down, and Max goes down, and then Trey White steps back in. So it's kind of been a revolving seat, if you will, of who's going down and who has to step up. And some guys have been lost that won't ever come back the rest of the season, and other guys will hopefully get back at some point here. So, I'm real proud of the team and the way that they've been resilient over the course of the season.
Sean, second straight game you used TJ mostly at end. How do you kind of balance the short-term needs of the team versus his long-term development where you drafted him?
Yeah, it's the position flexibility is good. We're a little bit stretched, right, in trying to get him, to your point, Joe, where we feel like he's going to grow and thrive. And so, when you look at our end situation, we feel like with when Hoyt went down, then losing Landon Jackson as well for both of the year, that we had to get some reinforcements outside. So we went with one of our tackles, in this case TJ, to move him outside. So we're going to continue to spin the dial and try and figure out the best combination, again, of where players need to play to help us get through a game. That's really where we're at right now. But I thought TJ, to that point, did some good things, though, last night. He went inside, on third down, some passing situations. He really played both positions in one game on all downs. So that's good to see. And he seems to have come off of the injury with a good mindset. It's been a short window, but hopefully we can get him back inside at some point here.
And to that point, Morgan Fox has only been in-house for a little over a
Yep.
week, so would he be like a consideration to
Yep.
fill that role?
Right. Yeah. That position flexibility, just watching, you watch cut-ups. I watch cut-ups on the plane down there to Houston, and Morgan was one of them, so I can continue to get to know him and his game in addition to, before he came and worked out for us. So just trying to figure out what a player can do and how he could fit us and help us, and so he's another candidate, as you mentioned.
Sean, how has the play calling with Bobby evolved since you guys started working together on that?
Yeah, no, again, I credit the defensive staff. They've been great. Led by Bobby, he's done a phenomenal job. The adjustments last night really coming through Bobby and the defensive staff, and you saw the results in the Tampa game, and whatnot, the same way. So that's important. To come up with a game plan is one thing. To be able to adjust during a game, as I know you guys are asking about, in this case, talking about the defense is powerful. So there's a reason why we were able to shut them down in the second half last night, and then same thing or similar idea in Tampa Bay. All right, thank you, guys.